that'll be great. So GoogleFrog and Klon is the next match, and it is going to be on Flooded Valley. Starting on, the first game is going to be Flooded Valley. Following games will be on maps that probably don't involve water, although I don't know, because GoogleFrog, more so in team games than in 1v1, GoogleFrog has been known to, on frequent occasion, go to Inculta Wet. Now, that's more of a team game thing, and against Klon, I think they'd want to go for a smaller, more micro-focused map than a larger economical map like Inculta Wet. But they probably... Well, I don't know if they're probably going to go to it, but it's on the table. It's a thing they've done. I would not put it... I would not be surprised if they went for that. Mind you, that's if they lose. We'll see how this goes because, I mean, GoogleFrog and Klon are probably. I'm thinking the advantage is probably Klon slightly, but I don't know how much they've been playing recently. Klon mentioned being rusty and GoogleFrog as well. This could be more even. Either way, I'm excited. Just barely waiting on Klon to get something set up, not sure what. But it doesn't matter, so we are going to the winner semifinals, or one match to the winner semifinals. Which is, like I said, GoogleFrog and Klon. And okay, yeah, David fully forfeited. They are out. Oh well, that's actually pretty good. One drop out of a 9-person tournament. Like 90% turnout is actually fairly good. Which I know sounds a little bit depressing, but yeah, it's actually fairly good. I mean, you always have people who don't show up. That just happens. And we're starting out GoogleFrog going for... Oh, actually, I don't know what they're going for. Amphib from Klon. GoogleFrog going for Amphib as well, which makes sense because Amphibious bots are pretty much the go-to factory. I don't just mean in water. I mean, they're kind of the go-to factory, period. Like, amphibs are super popular. They're powerful, they're popular. Hovercraft are popular because of scalpels, but amphib are just popular because of everything. Like, strong raiders, strong skirmisher with the boys slow effect. And that's pretty much what people tend to use. Scallops come up too, as, of course, you need Riot. But ducks are huge. Now, in a C map as well, you kind of get ducks and scallops primarily. And I'm actually a little surprised that neither player went for ships, because ships are strong, but yeah, dealing with underwater forces, not that easy to do. It is almost easier to deal with them using other underwater forces, like ducks. And first fight coming in here, GoogleFrog getting the advantage, taking a clean kill off of one of Klon's ducks. Unfortunately, running into a group of 4 ducks will probably kill them. And another clean kill. Followed by both ducks dying. Ooh. GoogleFrog is going to want to regroup, but not bad. Not a bad start for GoogleFrog. Nice reclaim going on here. Klon not going for the reclaim, going for the static economy first, or rather going for the energy reclaim. GoogleFrog going far more for the metal reclaim. And GoogleFrog, I know as a player, is very keen on getting their metal up first. They always are. It's one of the things that they taught me about how to play economy well is get your metal first. Don't worry if a bit of it gets stored. As long as you're not excessing, you can spend it later. But you want to get it as soon as you can. The energy can wait. And that's exactly how GoogleFrog is playing. The energy can wait. Klon, on the other hand, they are getting up their energy. I mean, they did all the energy reclaim. They have a decent amount of energy right now, but they don't have... Actually, they still have a rock. They still have a rock. So does GoogleFrog. Both of them have reclaimed the relevant rock. So at this point, they're fairly even. GoogleFrog probably going to be reclaiming this rock very shortly. They've just about gotten to access point. Yeah, you can see that the reclaim circle has shifted. Bit surprised they aren't directly targeting the rock, though. And another fight coming in here, and GoogleFrog losing their duck. All of Klon's forces here just hanging out in the water, and I realize, I'm sorry, the water's going to be hard to read through. Let's switch to a water type that you can actually see the units in. This doesn't help too much either. But it's more visible. Klon setting up to the island very quickly. GoogleFrog actually hasn't expanded their static economy yet. They're getting that rock right now. Yeah, they're very nearly accessing energy, but yeah, they have the rock. Getting that built up. And Klon as well, just both players really focusing on the reclaim. Neither one is really focusing on static economy. Klon a bit more. GoogleFrog taking the center. I'm a bit surprised they haven't just set up the metal spots here. But no, going for the reclaim instead. Going for heavy commander. What are they doing with this? Already level 2. Cheap level 2 though, only one module. What is their level 3? Really curious. Is it just heavy machine gun? Oh, and drone. So it's a drone-based commander. And Klon coming in here for an assault that could do very little, because honestly there's not much here to attack. GoogleFrog hasn't left a target for themselves. Or rather, hasn't painted a target on their back, so there's not much for Klon to deal with here. All they end up doing was losing a bunch of ducks. I gotta say, I'm not sure if if GoogleFrog was planning that as a trap, but if they were, that was a clever trap, because, I mean, GoogleFrog... Okay, they haven't been revealed that they're on the center island outside of those ducks seeing it. But if they were taking territory, they'd be on the center island and taking everything. Now, I still think they should have built the metal extractors, but at the same time, there wasn't much that was invested there. They've invested far more into their reclaim than they have into static economy. At this point, though, they probably should be getting up some metal extractors. I'm kind of surprised they aren't. I mean, as long as they're up for half a minute or longer, they've paid for themselves. It's all profit after that point. Which Klon is taking advantage of, so I think GoogleFrog might be falling behind. I mean, their hyper-aggression isn't a terrible thing necessarily, but they are still relying hugely on reclaim. They only have even one power plant, and this is the thing that GoogleFrog occasionally does, is run out of energy. Klon going for the attack on the northeast, while GoogleFrog does have some defensive ducks, and this is about even. It should be enough to deal with the ducks coming in from Klon. While the attack comes in along here, nice drone usage though. These drones coming, oh, I guess it's more a matter of coincidence that the drones are here, but still, the drone's close enough to get rid of their urchin, which is very handy. And Klon going for the counterattack, not much to defend with. GoogleFrog is aware of this now. Going for a counteroffensive rather than defending against this. How odd. This is actually a fairly large force. This could destroy the factory very quickly. This is scary, honestly, coming in here. But GoogleFrog able to defend quickly enough. Not losing too much. Losing one metal extractor, and that's about it. Gaining a bunch of reclaim in the process. Oh, no, that's not a worker. There we go. Getting 200 reclaim in the process, and their entire economy has been reclaimed so far, so why stop now? They are doing pretty well with it. And Klon, they haven't been able to win a lot of battles, which is surprising. Klon is typically a very defensive player. They're a player that tries to avoid losing units, just as a rule. They want to avoid losing units, but unfortunately they have not been winning any of these battles. Their economy is stronger, which is good. But they've been on the losing end of a lot of fights. The only thing that GoogleFrog hasn't really been doing is rebuilding their metal economy, which is a little bit surprising. And it looks like Klon has got radar. Yeah, they have radar coverage that GoogleFrog also has. Why is this urchin not attacking? What the heck? It should be attacking as well. That was weird. That urchin should have been returning fire. And scallops coming in here, which are a bigger threat. Underwater skirmishers are not something that should be really tribal with. Once they get on land, that's still going to be a problem. Scallops are still scary. Especially four of them all at once, the shotguns coming in here. Double machine or laser machine gun coming in, but that's not enough. GoogleFrog losing their commander, and that's going to be game. That, I think, GoogleFrog's going to go for a counteroffensive just to see if they can salvage this. But that was a huge blow. The only saving grace was that almost all the scallops were destroyed in the process. They got killed by the comm burst, but that was it. That's the only really positive thing that happened there. That does pave the way for this counteroffensive, though. Klon will probably be able to build up enough scallops by the time the ducks get in the main base, but at least the ducks can deal with a lot of the economic advantage. Unfortunately, the center is open and Klon's commander's right there. So it can tear apart that commander, just turn all that metal into its own. And GoogleFrog with barely any static economy. And there's a good argument for spec muting. Or at least forcing it so that the spectators cannot possibly chat with the players. Something which shouldn't be allowed anyway. Why is that even a thing? But anyway, yeah, Klon's caught the reclaim. Klon at this point has standard map static metal values worth of reclaim. GoogleFrog going for a bit of a revenge shot here. If they can get rid of Klon's commander, that will be enough probably to get this territory back. And then if they manage to get the reclaim back, to get back into this game. But unfortunately, so many defenses from Klon. This is the Klon I'm more familiar with. Setting up the defenses, trying to lose nothing, just being extremely careful. And GoogleFrog going off to game 2. Ouch. Man, that commander death. Like I said, the game hinged on that. Good counteroffensive afterwards, but that was not enough. There were so many defenses there. Klon had set up a massive defensive line. I think the biggest problem was probably just that GoogleFrog was focusing so much on the commander, didn't defend it. Didn't have a lot in front of it to defend, not a lot of support. Those scallops did kind of come out of nowhere. The fact that they didn't have static economy didn't help, but I don't think it killed them. I think it stopped the comeback. Like, it stuffed any comeback attempts, that's for sure. But I think what killed them was just the fact that their commander was their linchpin, and they lost it. So that was game 1. We're moving on to game 2 with a map that... Okay, mute spec has been set on, so we won't have that problem again. Good. So, GoogleFrog, what are they going to choose? On the one hand, Klon didn't really like the fact that that was a water map, so Inculta might still be on the table. On the other hand, Inculta is a massive map that really encourages static economy growth and defenses, which Klon does well. Remarkably well. And Lori has gone on to fight Drone, so Lori and Drone are fighting right now, while GoogleFrog and Klon are fighting. Hopefully they finish up around the same time. And then we can go on to the winners finals, which should be very entertaining. And Kshatriya has... Wait. Kshatriya won? Oh, no, Anarkid won over Kshatriya. So, Anarkid has beaten Kshatriya. Kshatriya... Well done, Kshatriya. I mean, I'm glad you signed up. Don't feel bad. Really, the competition was quite tough. I was pretty impressed with your second game. So, do not feel bad. Come back to the next one. I mean... You can only go up from here. Oh, I see. That's what's happening. GoogleFrog was more concerned about commander drones, and I guess they were just trying to exploit that. They're trying to really see how far they could push commander drones before everything just fell apart. And I can see that. Yeah, no, I can understand why they do that. Give me a sec. I can totally understand why they would do that, because it's... I mean, for them, especially since they're kind of designing the game, Or at least doing a lot. They're doing a lot of the design work on the game. So I can see why they would be saddened by it being... Can't wait for the new version of OBS. Anyway, I can see why they'd be saddened by the units being very powerful because, well, yeah, that is kind of sad, really. Oh, GoogleFrog's just trying to figure out the map even is. I had picked a bad time to reinstall this game. What map are they even playing on? Oh, they're playing an Avalanche. Okay, so game 2 is on Avalanche. Klon up 1-0, which kind of sucks for GoogleFrog, but it's not over yet. Oh, actually, well, Lord, I wouldn't mind casting both semifinals, but it's more that I don't want to be jumping into game 2. And since this is game 2, it's more a question of whether or not, or kind of how this will work out, because I don't know if this is going to be a quick game 2 or a long game 2. It is Avalanche. It's basically a matter of, it probably will be a quick game 2. But the question is it going to be moving on to game 3 or not? Mace coming in very quickly from Klon, going for hover, while GoogleFrog goes for light vehicle, and one of their more favorite strategies, the slasher push. Yeah, I can totally understand why they'd be disappointed about the drones. I mean, the drones didn't work out super well. Klon did find a way to counter them. GoogleFrog didn't win because of drones. The drones helped. And I do like some of their ideas of having like bomber drones that have to move back to reload. However, that I didn't see that as being overpowered. Powerful, yes, but manageable. I didn't think that Klon had to change up their strategy in order to deal with that. Just add a razor or two and that did the trick. Mind you, that was also because GoogleFrog was being very aggressive. Had GoogleFrog pulled back a little bit, it would have had a stronger effect. Especially with the scalp attack. If they had moved back a lot sooner from the scalp attack, or moved back before the scalp attack even started, they probably would have been able to stop the scallops with the drones, having been out of range of the razors at the time. And nice dart coming in here from GoogleFrog, getting rid of one of the metal extractors for free. Closing up the power plant as well. Oh, if they see... I don't think they saw it. Did they see it? They do! They do see that's there. And that they could go for that, but they're not going to go for it. Dart's dead. Okay, never mind. I was going to say they're too worried about daggers killing their darts. And so they should be, because it just did. And Mace coming here. Mace rush. That's Klon's strategy here. Close this out quickly. A little unusual for Klon, but that's what they're going for. And that's not going to work out. The Mace retreating. Not sure. Is he going to live? Think so. I honestly don't know. I mean, really, I don't know if that Mace is going to live. But it is going to be... It's going to be tough for it. So yeah, no, GoogleFrog knows where it knows it there. So the Klon's Mace Rush, not quite as successful as I'm sure they would have hoped. So at this point, GoogleFrog looks poised to move this to game 3. And halberds are being made indeed. Looks like, I guess, that they're not as muted as I thought they were. Because they can talk to each other. That's good. They just can't talk to the players. But halberds being built, which will deal with the slashers, as the spectators, as the peanut gallery has been suggesting, halberds will deal with them. I think that is definitely a good choice. But GoogleFrog, they have so much room right now to build up. Like, their economy is getting very strong. And they're getting the reclaim on top of that. And they have the energy reclaim just to work with the metal that they have. They have a lot to work with. And one cut asking the question about the they again. Yeah, it's basically because I don't know the gender and I don't want to have to deal with that. And it's just, I've made my explanation before. I don't, like, I just want to use a gender neutral pronoun and that's what I have. There's a history behind it, but I don't want to get into it. The point is, yeah, I want it to be a gender neutral pronoun. That's all I've got, is they. Everything else that works with gender, that is supposed to be gender neutral pronouns, sounds weird. They is the least weird option. Anyway, I don't want to use pronouns at all, honestly. I want to just use the names because that's much clearer when I say GoogleFrog or Klon. So GoogleFrog, kind of hesitant. Clones with their halberds coming in here. Yeah, like I said, Klon with Klon's halberds sounds a little unwieldy. Klon's halberds coming in here to deal with GoogleFrog slashers. GoogleFrog slashers are not going to be able to work with this. Of course, the halberds on hold fire because that's what you need to do. That's what makes halberds work so beautifully, is being on hold fire. But of course, the halberds need to attack at some point. Against this force, there isn't really an easy point. This is where a mace would be kind of handy, but at the same time, the slashers would be a problem for the mace. The halberd would tank that, but there's no mace right now. Scalpel coming in instead, that would work too. But I think GoogleFrog is going to be able to smash through Klon's forces quickly enough that it doesn't matter. Klon is losing a lot of ground. They have a decent amount of static economy, mind you. They've expanded over to the south and to the north, but darts over to the south to harass that, and to the north. Oh, that Scalpel basically doing nothing. This is the point where I'd say that halberds probably should, at least in part, attack, and they are. Okay, the halberds are attacking. Exactly, good. Klon looks like again. There we go. About to attack with the halberds. Push forward, and that's exactly what they're doing. Risky, though. Very risky. Are they off hold fire? Yeah, they're off hold fire completely. That's the tricky thing. If you pull them off hold fire, it becomes harder to work with just because, well, now you're dealing with hold fire. I find a lot of times players, they'll keep it on hold. Like the players that use it keep it on hold fire, but they'll attack manually. Klon, on the other hand, switching them to fire at will, which is causing them to become less defensive, but it's working. Well enough, at least. But at the same time, Klon is losing economy around the map. Darts just smashing with their main base. Unfortunately, those darts are not over to the southeast side, or southwest side of the map, where most of the economy has been built up. One of them has come down there, but those darts aren't doing much. And Klon's in a position where these scalpels could probably tear apart the commander. And that commander is a third of GoogleFrog's economy right now. And pretty much the only reason why GoogleFrog is able to keep this forward position. That's the only thing they have that's strengthening the forward position is the commander. Lotuses, however, are doing a fine job. Those halberds should have been in front. Why are they not in front? Why are they not in front? Hold fire, blocking off the Lotuses. There they go. Klon getting information. Just had to regroup, get information. That leaves the scalpels with very little damage taken. The halberds taking the brunt of the damage, which is exactly what they're there to do. But at the same time, GoogleFrog, I think I can get rid of this quill. Yes, they will just barely get rid of the quill in time, stopping that construction of the Lotus and stopping this particular attempt to stop the harassment from GoogleFrog. And another scalpel attack once the reloads happened, getting rid of more Lotuses, but not able to get rid of the commander. Not yet able to completely breach this defensive line. GoogleFrog doesn't have much behind it other than Wolverines. They haven't gone for a fact switch, but at this point they don't have the resources to do so. Setting up darts. This dart will die by killing the metal extractor, but it will at least kill the metal extractor. And another attack about to come in here. The scalpels have reloaded, but one of them is going to die to the Scorchers. I'm sorry, the Scorchers. The Lotuses. The Scorchers haven't come in yet. If the Scorchers do come in, though, those scalpels are pretty much hooped. And darts coming around the back, which don't have much in the way of opposition. There's one Lotus, and that's it. I think Klon's about to lose this. We could see Game 3. In fact, I'm fairly certain we're going to see Game 3. GoogleFrog not investing much in their commander. They do have a lot in their defenses, and the scalpels are coming in. Only one of them is undamaged. And it's the one being targeted, which is lucky for Klon. But yeah, Klon has been able to reinforce quickly enough, and now the Scorch is coming in here, having lost all fear, and that's exactly what they need to do, because there's not much left to deal with them, honestly. GoogleFrog, with all this reclaim, they need more power. GoogleFrog, where are your power plants? That's the only thing that's lacking here. They have tons of metal. They have tons of reclaim to work with. How much reclaim is there? Put it in a spot I can actually read it at. Yeah, 1,700 metal worth of reclaim. Klon's reclaiming some of it. GoogleFrog's not reclaiming it. And these Wolverines continue to solidify the position. So GoogleFrog, if they can hold this position, and especially if they can advance forward, keeping their energy up, they can build a couple more power plants. GoogleFrog builds a couple more power plants. That should work out okay. Oh, they don't have radar? No, they have radar coverage. Not sure what... Oh, that's a defender, my mistake. Trying to get rid of this particular metal extractor. That's what's going on. Harass that from above. Yeah, Klon right now, they're able to keep up with reclaim. And with better energy. GoogleFrog probably going to switch to energy reclaim fairly shortly. And actually, they are. There it is. Energy reclaim right away. GoogleFrog got the energy reclaim going. The GoogleFrog should be able to build up relatively quickly, but no caretakers, no workers, anything. Klon, on the other hand, pushing 20 metal into the factory there. That Hovercraft factory getting 20 metal. GoogleFrog's factory only getting 10 metal per second, which ultimately will be a problem. Not yet. GoogleFrog has won enough battles and has kept themselves in a solid enough position that they will be able to stay alive. But Klon, once Klon's production really ramps up and gets going, and we actually see the effects of that with all these scalpels and halberds. At this point, as it is, GoogleFrog's been pushed back. Klon's been pushing GoogleFrog back. GoogleFrog's position is no longer as solid as it used to be. The Wolverines are providing very nice support, though. That's keeping Klon at bay. And GoogleFrog, they do... Okay, GoogleFrog now has 15 metal going into the factory. One more worker, that will keep them on par with Klon. Actually, no, Klon's pulled away from that, from the looks of it. And Quill's reclaiming what they can, and that's actually quite a lot. So right now, GoogleFrog is still kind of low in army. Klon realizing it, moving in, and not as low as they expected from the looks of it. Low, but not something that can be beaten right away. And GoogleFrog in a position to possibly go for a factory switch if they wanted to. Klon, on the other hand, accessing metal. What the heck? So Klon accessing metal, that's not what they want. I'm sure it's not what they want. Now they're pushing that into the factory. So Klon's got that in the factory, but at this point, they're not really able to dislodge GoogleFrog's position. Honestly, at this point, if I didn't have this little spectator panel here knowing which player is which, I would probably be confused. Because GoogleFrog is playing a lot like Klon right now. Defensive, cautious, very focused on late game economy over early game harassment. Although, admittedly, GoogleFrog did attack a lot in the early game, and they have still been harassing a lot now. It's more that they're being defensive because they really can't push forward because Klon's forces are just forming a mobile wall. So GoogleFrog trying to keep Klon's forces at bay until GoogleFrog can build up something useful. And Klon now coming in here, if this wins, it'll turn it around. If it doesn't, Klon could lose most of the army they've built up so far. A lot of the army, in fact. With that last halberd going down, the scalpels have no force to really tank for them. Another halberd is up, but still, that's not very much. GoogleFrog having the caretaker here too means constant reclaim, and when they're rebuilding defenses, they have 20 metal per second building defenses. Of course, that's 20 metal per second not building units, but it's been working so far. Klon has not really gotten enough of an army to be able to go around the side. They haven't built up half a dozen daggers or something to go around and harass, and with Hovercraft, it's actually kind of hard to do that with. They can't use the halberds for that because they need them to tank. And the halberds... well, Klon can't use them for that because they need Klon needs the halberds to tank. The only other force I could think of that they'd possibly have would be... I can't even think of what they'd have. Halberds and daggers are pretty much all the Hovercraft factory really has for harassment. But GoogleFrog has a path open. Klon has made a breach. Not really able to take advantage of it, though. It's not a very wide breach. It looks like Chutch is pointing out that no one's really going for the mexes over to the southwest. Everyone's focused on the center so much. Bit of tunnel vision there. There are a lot of resources, though. The reclaim is huge. I mean, it's not a short sellout. There's 2,500 metal worth of reclaim in the center of the map. There's a lot of economy there. But at the same time, there's also 12 meta per second over in the southwest, which nobody has taken. Looks like Klon's double checking if GoogleFrog has it. No, they don't. In fact, GoogleFrog has... They have no early warning system this is happening. Oh, no, they do. Never mind. They know this is happening. They have the early warning system. They do not, however, have much in the way of defenses. Moving back some Scorchers to get rid of that. My historic problem with units that start with S continues unabated. Anyway, moving Scorchers to deal with that. But it looks like the halberds, upon seeing nothing, are just going to move back because there's nothing to harass. Klon going for the metal extractor, so the Scorchers are going to go from being a defensive force to being a harassment force, getting rid of these expansions that Klon's trying to do. GoogleFrog well aware they can't really worry about or they don't have to worry about the north, because Klon can't take it. But Klon losing the southwest as well. I'm just surprised GoogleFrog has not taken the southwest. They have the energy now. They have the build power in the factory. This is where GoogleFrog can turn it around, turning that economic advantage they've had for a decent chunk of the game into military advantage. Klon, realizing they don't have much, throws in the towel and move on to Game 3. I kind of hope that Lottery and Drone have been playing their matches so far, because I'm pretty sure that it's going to take about as long. Alright, so we're moving on to Game 3, which... Klon's choice of map. So, I'm going to say Comet Catcher. And if not Comet Catcher, maybe Eye of Horus. Eye of Horus is more of Drone's map than it is Klon's map. But yeah, Comet Catcher seems very likely. But it's just a matter of finding that out, isn't it? I mean, we don't know yet. Find out soon enough, though. Alright, so... we know Klon's defensive. Doesn't like water. I still think Comet Catcher. I would be surprised if it wasn't Comet Catcher. Maybe Red Comet, but... I feel like Klon, especially if they're rusty, are going to go to something that they're comfortable with, and Comet Catcher is an old standby. Titan Duel! Okay, that's also not that surprising. A bit surprising, not that surprising. It's a strong macro-oriented map, so Klon can work there. But it's got enough choke points to think that GoogleFrog's slightly more micro-oriented play will give them a good chance. So it's a situation where I think both players can do well. And I'm not sure if Lottery and Drone are waiting for me. They're still in Flooded Valley, so I think they might be waiting for me. Okay, I mean, I guess at this point you might as well, but... Game 3, Titan Duel between these two will probably take about 15 minutes. 10-15 minutes, I'd say. Although it could be a lot longer. Especially with the way Avalanche took. I was expecting Avalanche to take 5 minutes, and that was about 10. We're moving on to Titan Duel. Titan Duel. I really like this map, personally. I think it's a good map. I think it's a popular map for good reasons. And it is a popular map. A lot of people do play it, so it's a map that both players should know fairly well. GoogleFrog going for the Shieldbot Factory. Wow! I think I saw that happen in a previous match. Klon going for heavy tanks. Heavy tanks is no surprise. But Shieldbot is something I recall seeing in a recent match, but Not a typical play, not on this map. The GoogleFrog going for a slightly atypical play with the Shieldbot Factory. Klon, early Kodachis, makes sense. I understand that. GoogleFrog, on the other hand, going for the early Bandits, which... Like, last time I saw a play, it was basically a matter of having to push out slowly, expand slowly. You had to really just take territory and never lose ground. That was kind of how it worked. Heavy tanks, on the other hand, are actually kind of similar. You want to build up defenses, you don't have a lot of units to attack with. So it's similar play for different reasons. Shieldbots are slower than vehicles, but tanks are less numerous than vehicles. So both of them are going to go for more defensive, build up, defense in depth play. Both of them, however, also have fairly strong early raiding options, which we're going to see in practice very shortly. Kodachi coming in here, not deterred by that one defender, which makes sense because really it's not that threatening. But the bandits coming in afterwards, that will be a problem. And the defender, is it going to recharge in time? Reload, rather? No, it's going to burn to death. Oh, it does! It just barely reloads in time. And Klon forced to regret that Kodachi attack. The bandits, however, coming from GoogleFrog, once that grouping happens, and Klon is not aware of it. Apparently a radar blind spot? That can't be right. The radar must be able to see that. I'm not sure why that's not showing up, but Klon's aware of this. They should be aware of it, at least. They have the Lotus coming in. GoogleFrog didn't... Did they see that? Oops. Okay, yeah, Klon's aware. Klon knows. They know it's coming. They are prepared. And GoogleFrog is going to be setting up, again, this fairly strong economy. Klon also getting it, but GoogleFrog not really able to harass too much. That's the big thing. So GoogleFrog, I'd say they've got a good start. For what Shieldbot needs to do on this map, they're playing it pretty well. While for what the tanks need, Klon is getting their defenses going. The bandits can't move in with impunity. But if GoogleFrog gets in the right position at the right time, there's a lot at stake. Especially with this commander moving forward. Panther is a good choice, though. That will leave Klon fairly well protected. Make it damn near impossible for the bandits to get anywhere. And the bandits are known. GoogleFrog has no idea what's going on. They've been running blind this entire time. The bandits are kind of a scouting force. But this is a large scouting force. This is... 300, 400 metal worth of scouting? Like right now it's 300. So almost 400 metal was worth of it. Lost 75, but still, that's a lot of metal. GoogleFrog doesn't want to lose all that on scouting. Like I said, they're playing shields, they're playing a slow factory. They do not want to take losses. If they can avoid it, they do not want to take losses. They want to make sure that they are keeping everything fairly solid. Especially since they cannot form much of a wall. And with these Panthers coming in here, sheesh, dealing with that for GoogleFrog is going to be a problem. At least with the bandits they have. Because the bandits are going to go down. Yeah, they get stunned in one shot. They deal hardly any damage. Although I don't believe that Panthers are... No, Panthers are not splash damage, I don't think. I'm 99% certain that there's no splash damage. That does leave the bandits an opening. If there are more bandits than there are Panthers, the bandits should be able to deal damage. But I'd say there needs to be at least twice as many. Granted, Panthers cost 4 times as many as a bandit, so 4-to-1 ratio? I think the bandits will win. I don't think GoogleFrog wants to find out, or at least wants to show us firsthand. And I can't say I blame them. It really doesn't make much sense because it's kind of a scary fight. Not to mention, GoogleFrog doesn't have a lot of bandits in one spot. They're focusing far more on their economy, far less on the bandits, far less on that, on the military. And Klon able to take a lot of territory thanks to the Panthers, forcing GoogleFrog back, forcing GoogleFrog to respect them. GoogleFrog not respecting too much, though. They're still setting up across the map, just the same as they were before. The GoogleFrog does not feel particularly threatened. No switch of tactics, though. Reaper coming in for Klon. Wow, okay, they're going for heavy assault. One Reaper this early is kind of early, but at the same time, the bandits would take forever to deal with it. And one of the Panthers is about to go down, and I was right. It has no splash damage. There is no splash. So it's really just a matter of keeping the bandits alive long enough to kill them. Which, for one bandit at 95 DPS, is about 10 seconds, or 11 seconds. So they take 2 shots, the bandits take 11 seconds per bandit. So 4 bandits would take about 2.5, 3 seconds. So they lose 1 of their number in the process. But yeah, 4 to 1, that would actually work pretty well. Like 4 to 1 in total, with the local advantage of them focus firing on each panther at a time. Those bandits, like, this fight, if microed properly, the bandits would win, but that's tricky to pull off. GoogleFrog continuing to go for bandits, going for racketeers too. This makes... Okay, there we go. That's what they need, racketeers. Who needs micro when you can just stop your opponent's forces from attacking in the first place? But at this point, using shields very wisely. Mind you, one problem with paralysis damage is that it does, well, EMP, slow, disarm damage. When they hit shields for the damage value of the actual effect. So the shields are actually hit at that point for like 700 damage. And where's the shields? Yeah, there's 900 shields. So they get hit hard. One shot deals a huge amount of damage to those shields. Oops. At this point, they're not really strong enough to stop anything right now, but they will be soon enough. But yeah, at this point, bitter respect has been forced. Not enough, though, because GoogleFrog going for the air switch. They got 44 metal coming in. They've got more metal than they know what to do with. Or at least than they can deal with right now. Not as much as they know what to do with it. They know what to do with it. They're doing what they need to do with it. They just can't do it right away. They will soon enough, though. And once they do, it's probably going to turn this whole game back around. However, Reapers are coming up, and 4 Reapers already. That's a scary force. That's getting close to Strider class cost values. Like 3,400 metal on this. Air Factor, what's it going to go for? Probably Vulture first, although I don't know if GoogleFrog thinks they have the time to build that and get the information. Or if they're just going to go straight to Thunderbird. I can't imagine them doing anything other than Thunderbird at this point. To deal with Rapiers, to deal with Panthers, they're going to want to go for Thunderbirds. They want the disarm. There's an outside chance they'll go for Raven to be able to strategically bomb things, but that would be counter-meta. And there's the Thunderbird. Okay, that's exactly what I expected, and what we see. So they're going to just stun out this entire force, and then the bandits will rush in and tear the entire thing apart, or the Thunderbird will miss and the bandits will rush in and have to be pulled back, otherwise they'll die. At this point, though, pretty even. GoogleFrog with some good reclaim. Nice defense creep, too. But that Thunderbird is essentially what they're waiting on. Once that Thunderbird's out, they're going to attack. It's that, like, 30 seconds. That's what Klon has. They have 30 seconds before the Thunderbird's out, and they get hit hard. And this is where, however, the bandits are... Well, they're pulling back. I think they'd win this fight, but they're pulling back. I mean, they would win the fight, but they'd lose a lot of the number in the process. Once the Thunderbird's out, which is now. There we go. Thunderbird is go. Now, it's kind of funny. I've actually never watched that show. I'm fairly certain that is actually the line, though. That was also... Yeah, so... I'm curious if it's actually any good. Whatever. 80s stop-motion and or puppet television programs aside, the Thunderbird has been built, and is it being used? Because I don't want to just follow it as it's hovering around the base. GoogleFrog, not noticing it's being used, doesn't seem to think they need it. Instead, you know, a swarm of 27 bandits, or 19 bandits rather, but that's a good swarm. I mean, against what, 4 Panthers? Yeah, 4 Panthers, and the Reapers will do nothing. That's actually fairly strong. Klon's main asset at this point is the stag defenses. Why are these Thunderbirds not moving? Seriously, why are they not being used? This is exactly what they need to be used for. I guess GoogleFrog is waiting until they have the right target, but this is kind of it. Okay, there we go. Thunderbirds are moving in. Oh, they probably just wanted 3 of them. That's why. 2 or 3, because, yeah. Even 1 should stun out, but now it's stunned out all the way to 20 seconds. The bandits have free reign. The Panthers, however, are a problem, and there we go. Ooh. Oh, that's painful. That is so painful. Hitting the bandits with the disarm completely nullifies the follow-up. Yeah, it stops Klon's advances, but GoogleFrog wanted to kill this army. GoogleFrog wanted the bandits to rush in and wipe this army out. Unfortunately, the Thunderbirds were a little bit too eager, but another Thunderbird attack should clear this up a bit. Ooh. Or not. Banisher is discouraging the Thunderbird usage. And unfortunately not hitting anything of real note. Bandits hitting the weak side in the north tier, but that's still not much. I mean, it's going to be a lot of damage, but it's not what GoogleFrog wanted. GoogleFrog wanted to have the Thunderbird follow up with the bandits destroying everything. But the bandits are still destroying a decent amount of things, and GoogleFrog still has a stronger economy than Klon. How many Thunderbirds are there? Still 3. Still the 3 that were built before. I'm a bit surprised they aren't going for the rearm pad, actually. Because it's clear they're going to be building up with the Thunderbirds, and they're going to be using them a lot to push forward. Like, the Racketeers just aren't doing enough. The Thunderbirds are really all they have to actually deal with the Reapers. And their commander, ow! Their commander down, and this is where the bandits have to come in. Right now! This exact minute. Why are they not coming in? The bandits needed to have been moving already before that Thunderbird attack happened. Klon's been forced back, but they still have 8 Reapers. They've got 8 Reapers. Okay, the Ravager switch is not a terrible idea, but they're going to have to get 24 Ravagers before it becomes even a threat to Klon. At least 24. And that's with Klon building Reapers in the meantime. With 50 metal. Well, 40 to 50 metal, depending on reclaim. Klon is so far ahead by that one metric. But like they're far ahead by a metric which could be turned around very quickly by a good Thunderbird follow-up. The commander is about to go down. There's nothing that can save it. Not nearby. So the commander's down. The burst getting rid of half a dozen bandits, forcing GoogleFrog to fall back, but there's still more bandits being built. Actually, yeah, there's still more bandits being built. The Racketeers are kind of maxed out. So, got rid of the commander. Not much of an economic problem, but does reduce the firepower at the front line. That's the bigger thing. It does mean that GoogleFrog doesn't have to worry as much about creeping defenses. They still kind of have to worry about them, but more importantly, these Reapers over here, the Thunderbird will be coming in to stun them out. The Thunderbird would have been coming in to stun them out, except something happened and it didn't. I don't know why. The Thunderbird should have been coming in to stun them out, and I don't know why it didn't. Because that wasn't the perfect position to stun them all out and then have the Lotus destroy them, rather than having them just march over everything as if it didn't matter. What is GoogleFrog waiting for? There's the Banisher, sure, that's a problem, but that's not the biggest problem in the world. Especially once everything gets stunned out. There we go. I mean, the chainsaw is up, and on the north side, there was nothing they had to worry about, and no follow-up once again. That's been the biggest problem for GoogleFrog right now, is arranging the Thunderbird follow-up. Because they are playing a tricks game right now. And not even Raptors, just going for Scorchers instead. But yeah, they're playing a tricks-based game right now. That's the situation they're in. Weaker factories, or weaker units, trying to deal with stronger units, but with things to decidedly counter them. Unfortunately, it's a 2-part counter. And that second part keeps being out of position. So that's been the problem so far. GoogleFrog not able... If GoogleFrog got rid of the Reapers, Klon would probably throw in the towel. Klon has very little defense behind the Reapers. They have defenders here and there, they have Lotuses here and there. But if those Reapers go down, Klon has nothing. It takes them forever to rebuild Reapers. And they basically have nothing in the meantime to tear apart what's there. The only problem is this chainsaw. That chainsaw is causing problems. The Thunderbirds can't deal with it. The Racketeers trying to do what they can. and it's helping somewhat, but GoogleFrog doesn't want to go in, and for good reason. If they go in and fail, that's game over. But if they go in and succeed, well, I mean, then they win. That's great. I mean, they want to do that. So if they go in and fail, that's the problem. They don't want to lose their army, because it's not like they can rebuild their army in a flash, either. But 11 Reapers is a problem. One of the Banishers, however, going down, thanks to the Racketeers. And the Fallout Force, well, it's the Stardust, actually. In this particular case, the Stardust is essentially acting as the Fallout Force. Like, GoogleFrog's entire game plan is essentially bait Klon into their territory, stun them out, destroy their forces, but Klon's been pulling back every single time well enough, and at this point, GoogleFrog, I think they're starting to get impatient. They appear to be losing their patience. They're moving in harder. This is kind of a game of patience. But Rapier's coming in as well for Klon to try to break up this stalemate. They can get rid of the Racketeers, that will be successful. There's no Vandals in play. In no way has GoogleFrog actually read an air switch. They're clearly expecting Klon to continue with the same strategy forever, and thankfully for GoogleFrog, they did see the Rapiers in time. GoogleFrog should be building up some Razors immediately. Yeah, there they are. There's their first Razor. And Vulture's coming in just to know what's going on, and then Swifts will be following soon after, most likely. Oh, no, never mind. No Swifts or Vandals. Or Crashers. Looks like a switch to Ravagers is, well, already on the way. Half a dozen Raptors so far. Good choice to basically tank out all this stuff. And GoogleFrog looks like what they're going for right now. What they basically have as their strategy is to go along the side here, tear apart the areas that the Reapers aren't, because the Reapers are going to be in one concentrated position, but GoogleFrog can just flank around that. And as long as they keep the Reapers sufficiently stunned out, and keep the Thunderbird threat there, the Reapers will remain in check, allowing GoogleFrog to harass around the side, which is exactly what they're doing. They've dropped the follow-up strategy. They're just, the Thunderbirds are there just as a threat to make sure that, or are they still there? Well, I guess they're not actually still there. But I guess the Racketeers there as a threat of, well, if you attack, I'm going to stun you. A couple Thunderbirds as a threat wouldn't be a bad idea, but I can see why GoogleFrog wouldn't go for that. Still, now with these Ravagers coming into the southwest, I mean, Klon's counteroffensive, oh boy. This is a problem. This is where a Thunderbird would be super necessary. Like, absolutely necessary. Why is there no Thunderbird right now? A Thunderbird would have stopped this attack long ago. Like, good idea here, but yeah, Sprung pointing out as well. No Thunderbird. That's game. Not totally. It looks like Klon respects the Racketeers enough to not bother pushing in. Maybe they think there's a Thunderbird already. I think GoogleFrog might be trying to bluff out a Thunderbird. And if they do that, and that's actually what's happening, if Klon thinks it's a Thunderbird, GoogleFrog's been super successful. If that is the most successful thing in the world, if that's the case. And I think that Klon has been successfully fooled into thinking that there is still a Thunderbird around. Which there isn't. I mean, there could be pretty quickly. There isn't yet. GoogleFrog going for Hovercraft as well? Build all the factories, but the Rapier's stopping the Ravager assault before any real damage can be dealt. And the Vulture's there. Seriously? Klon does not see this? I guess Klon just doesn't care. Like, GoogleFrog has essentially a map hack right now. GoogleFrog knows exactly what Klon's up to. Not that it really matters though, because what Klon's up to primarily is this force of 14 Reapers. 14 Reapers and 2 Banishers, which is getting stunned out, and it's having a hard time doing much, but still, it's 14 Reapers and 2 Banishers. That's still a large army. That is still a terrifyingly large army. Even if GoogleFrog can see what's going on, it doesn't matter. Again? For crying out loud, what's going on with the engine? Gotta be kidding me! If it weren't the fact that I have to that I have to cast this thing, I would be setting info logs, but I can't. I have to get back into this as quickly as possible because... Shoot, what the hell? Stupid things keep crashing. Sorry about that, everyone. I did not expect that. That was really annoying. Get back to where we were. Although it looked like that looked very near GG, potentially. I was honestly a bit worried that at that point GoogleFrog had thrown in the towel and that was game. Let's see, getting back into it. Looks like... Oh, it's gonna take a while to catch up. Alright, so earlier parts of the game we saw already with the bandits not really doing too much. Follow failure. This is taking a while to get back up. And down, we saw that already. So yeah, recap Dot Wars in case you guys forgot what happened in the last 15 minutes. Another Thunderbird attack, no follow-up. Another Thunderbird attack, no follow-up. Once we see the Thunderbird bluff, that's basically going to be the time that we're back. Yeah, alright, so... At this point, GoogleFrog going fairly ahead, or fairly even at this point. And... just about back at the point where it was bluffed. Yeah, as the Thunderbird bluff, the Reapers go down south. And this is the point where the game crashed. Alright. Or just about the point where the game crashed. The Reaper's coming in north. And... was it GG? What happened? What did it? I don't know. It looks like they got stunned out, actually. It looks like all the Reapers have gotten stunned out, and that's still not enough, though. Losing the Hovercraft factory, and that's game and match. Why did it have to crash right before the game ended? What the hell is going on? Sadly, I had to lose that info log because I didn't have time to save it. Kind of wish I did, but I didn't. Man, that sucks. I don't know why that happened. That's the second time it's happened in this tournament. It's been really annoying. Such perfect timing. Alright, anyway, so apparently the other semifinal game is 1-0 for Drone at the moment. It's on game 2. And they've been going on for 25 minutes. Well, right now I'm just going to look at the standings for a sec. So GoogleFrog and Sprung in the losers bracket. GoogleFrog and Klon... oh, sorry. Drone and Lori playing out, but 22 minutes... I mean, especially if it goes to game 3. I think I might just watch GoogleFrog and Sprung. I mean, Lori and Drone would be a neat match. Kind of sad I missed that, but... GoogleFrog and Sprung will also be good. And I think that will finish up around the time that the winners' finals start. And I do want to watch the winners' finals. Like, wait for me for the winners' finals. This is going to be on Archer's Valley. This is, I guess, semifinals 2 in the losers bracket. I do quite like that. What the hell? I do quite like that that Challonge has changed their naming conventions. Like, having it upper and lower bracket rounds and bracket finals, that's what it is. So I'm glad they did that as opposed to this weird round 1, round 2, round 3 thing, and then having losers, like having the finals be the grand finals instead of listing it as grand finals and winners finals. And Sprung is having a tea break. Well, that actually doesn't sound like a bad idea. So Sprung is going to have a tea break. I shall also have a tea break. So stay tuned, I'll be back in a moment with after this tea break.